Well, we're gonna do something a little different. I've been making some changes to the 300. We'll just dive right into it. So, added the Acerbis VSL headlight. Thing's actually pretty good. And do a little more testing tonight. And got a radiator fan put in this thing. Doing some single track running here at the house. Got it hot, boiled a little bit. Yeah, getting everything halfway ready to do the Perry Mountain 24-hour. Also got my Oxbow Mavericks on, mounted. You'll see how I get along with those. Other than that, fresh brake pads, new tire, just freshening everything up. Gonna get suited up and go out here and do a little night riding. It's like 11 o'clock Saturday night. Been raining most of the day, maybe a little greasy, muddy, but still being able to kind of get lights adjusted wherever they need to be. All that good stuff. Plus, not to mention the temperature has dropped off quite a bit, so should be pretty good riding tonight. We'll see what we get into. So, got almost all the lights shut off in here. Just leaving that one on so we can still see. But for comparison, here is the headlight just on its own. Lights up pretty good. Okay, and then we're gonna go through. We got helmet light. Got a pulse setting. And you go low, medium, high, and then you have the second light. Find the button. Okay, we go same thing, pulse, medium, high. There's just the headlights, headlamps, helmet lights, whatever you want to call. And then we'll throw the headlight on with it. The tractor, they were working fields a little bit today. I think this is going to be a pretty solid combination. Got good light, just the headlight. The headlight's aimed a little high, and I've adjusted with it and changed the setup and everything else, trying to bring it down. But I don't want to change it too much, because once you actually get on the trails in the woods, it's actually pretty nice. Going downhill, you can see what's down there. Going uphill, you can, see what's coming up the hill. Actually works pretty solid, so I'm not going to mess with that too much. The Oxbows are much more focused. You got a lot more reach with them for lights. Headlights just kind of a general illumination thing. It rained today, so we're going to see also how wet it is in here. Halfway take it easy and see what I got for footing. But all in all, oh, she's greasy in here. It's gonna take a little bit to get used to the shadows and everything that come with it, but trim his trails back. The leaves are out. Branches have all gotten heavy. So they're hanging further down into the trail than they usually are. Have been. Whatever. But in this little creek crossing here, it's gonna be pretty nasty. Yep, it is. But not too bad. The light's acting pretty well. Ordered the Oxbows off of Rocky Mountain, and I got the headlight actually through True North Motos. Got a relayed harness off of them. It's pretty slick. Plugs into basically the diagnostic plug, whatever you want to call it, with the dongle that you get on the KTM in the airbox. powers off on its own off the ECU after like 15 seconds of runtime. Man, they work this field. With the rain and the fresh fork field, that is gonna be pretty deep stuff out here. Yep, slinging up on the inside of my arms. But I'm really liking the harness is nice. It's put together really well. And it's nice also because it'll cycle off on its own. Don't have to worry about the battery running down, somebody hitting the button or anything like that, and leaving the light on and kill the battery. Pretty good washout right there. Cut across the levee. I've got the fan program. Some of you guys may have a little more experience running fans and such like that, but I've got it programmed to cycle on at 190 degrees, and then it cools it to 185, and then the fan shuts off, and it's just a universal tusk fan. I had to drill and tap 2 holes. I've got the Enduro Engineering radiator braces. Drilled and tapped 2 holes into that, and that is super easy to mount at that point. And then it's just wiring in. Really no sweat there. And it's actually really neat how that's deep. Really neat how quick it actually cools it down. I mean, 5 to 10 seconds and the fan's already cycled off at 180. You know, it doesn't take anything too crazy. I'm not trying to sling mud all over this thing, but I really don't know that I'm going to have a whole lot of other options. Let me get a tractor and brush hog out here and get some of the grass knocked down too. All in all, pretty happy with this light setup though. Okay, we haven't worked anything over here. I've got rabbits everywhere. Oh, that's possum, raccoon, maybe, I don't know. Like I said, you can kind of see out of the side. I'm trying to get my helmet lights off to the side. The headlight it's okay. Not super happy with it. It's got plenty of light, but it's way better obviously with the helmet lights. They're so much more focused and right where you're wanting to have it at. I can see a decent amount of night riding this whole summer, just the temperature being better in the evenings and everything else, plus just trying to get everything done during the day. Any of you guys that have rode here are gonna know this section, and it's crazy how much the limbs are hanging down or in the way. I wanted to get back here and get a bunch of this trimmed today, but didn't get it done. Getting stuff ready for horse pasture so we can get Emily's horses and her mule moved. That's still plenty sandy. Woo, that water on the limbs is cold. But yeah, all in all, this has been a pretty good setup. I really like the helmet lights. I'm actually pretty good with the adjustment of where they're at. Just gonna have to play with that headlight and see if I can get it adjusted a little better. Just for comparison's sake. I'm gonna see if I can shut that one off. Shut that one off. That's kind of just the natural throw of the headlight. So you can see on the trees right here, it's aimed super high. I'm not sure what I'm gonna have to do. I've already adjusted the bracket and everything else. I'm gonna have to play with it some more to figure out for sure what angle I need to get it at. It does a pretty good job. I'm willing to bet that it's better than any of the factory headlight stuff. Obviously the XC didn't come with one, but yeah, it's just angled up. But I'm just gonna ride a little bit, see if we can get some videos, see if we can get me wiping out or anything like that, and then we'll check back in when we get back up to the shop. in here. Feels like we got a couple of inches of rain in the last 2 hours. Had a good little storm come through. Put off the brake. Felt the mud kick up off the back tire all over my back. Love it. Have a group out here and get the rest of this trail all blown in. This isn't too bad. One little dirt scooter weekend. Got it cut in pretty decent, but it's just slick. It is nice. Having a fresh tire definitely helps. We did have to kick this corner over for the guys that have been here. Gonna resow this in alfalfa, so we're gonna have to kick over and skirt this edge. Then drop back down in. That one's fresh down. It wasn't even there, I don't think, yesterday. Curious. 169. I don't know that we'll get it very hot tonight. But we'll see. I doubt I'll get it to pick on though. I'm not gonna, with it as slick as it is, I'm not gonna be running her that hard. Water's not helping with my branches hanging down either. But all in all, on the 300, for you guys if you watched any of the other videos, 2020 KTM 300XC. I bought it used this spring, or early, I don't even spring, it was still winter, like January. Had 30 hours on it. Pretty solid bike, you know, still all stock equipment on it and everything else. I just trail rode it quite a bit. Not even really quite a bit, hell, it only had 30 hours on it. Since then, made a handful of changes. Did RK Tech head, changed the gearing a little bit. I didn't like the factory gearing. And then switched out the tires, put my Shinkos on there. I like the 216 fatty cheater front, running with a nitro mousse in the front. Then running the 525 cheater in the back, hybrid. A 120 118, and then I run tubeless in the back. Probably needed to actually air down. If you guys got any recommendations on what PSI to run or anything like that, that'd be great, because I've played around with it some and like nasty slick stuff. I've tried it high, I've tried it low, just seeing what works and what doesn't. But it grips on a wet log pretty good. Then just did skid plate, hand guards, that kind of stuff. I do have the Power Core 2.1 FMF on this thing. Just good to run a little cleaner. I've done the idle screw mod, got that through Slavens. Trying to think of what else. Just a lot of little stuff here and there. Just getting it set up, and then I'm 6'6", so I run the RC highs. Like they're about an inch taller than the CR highs. Keeps me from being completely hunched, bent over the whole time while I'm riding. Do have the Fastway Evo 4 pegs. I've got those in the lowered position. That improves a lot. And then put oversized brake pedal tip on it. I'm trying to think of anything else. Flip this up a little bitty strip. Heck, we just dished it this morning. Yeah, been fighting around. I've got a kit ECU for this thing, the Athena, and got the maps and stuff through Takamoto. Really wasn't a huge fan. This thing was doing a hesitation bog. If you ran on the throttle for a while and then rolled off the throttle, you didn't have the option of coming back into it right away. It would just basically bog and die out on me. So right now I've got the factory ECU back on this thing, and it runs pretty good. I think it ran a little better on the top with the Git ECU. However, everything else is better with the stock ECU off the bottom. One time I thought it was even the crankcase pressure sensor. I think it was okay. I went ahead and replaced it because I mean it was just it felt like it was loaded up, like, you know, an older two-stroke or anything carbureted. It felt like the plug was loaded up, and it looked okay, but it's running pretty good now. I really like the gearing ratios on this thing. Running a 13 and a 50. I had, when I first put the head and stuff on there, I had a 48 on the back, and it was good. I actually liked it. It kind of smoothed everything out, and you could pull each gear for a long time. Then I went back to the 50, and it felt snappy at first, but after riding it for a little bit, I kind of got used to it again, and it's been pretty solid. I'll probably stay with that. May play with it a little bit. Resprung the rear end. Had to go to heavier spring. I'm about 235 with no riding gear on, so took it up to I think a 5.2 if I remember right. Is it a 5.2 or 5.4? I'd have to look at it again to double check. Just trying to go off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it was a 5.2. And with just stock valving and everything else, that felt really solid. Got rid of just blowing through the stroke and everything else. Still running the air fork on the front end. Everybody runs different pressures for preference and things like that. I'm running 160 psi on the front forks, and with the stroke indicators, most of our races, and I know it's going to be on like some downhill G-out braking bumps and stuff like that, I'm still getting down to the last half inch of stroke, so it doesn't feel harsh or anything like that. I actually like the action on the forks. It's maybe not as planted all the time as the RMZ was, but I mean, after having the RMZ, the 450, and going to the 300, there's no going back, in my opinion. Shed 50 pounds off the bike weight going across the cornrows. It sounds like my voice is bouncing. They're still solid enough to make it sound like I'm sitting there beating myself in the chest. There's a 50-pound weight difference between the bikes. The power on the 300 is just fantastic. 450 had a recluse in it, and I didn't know if I was going to want to put one in this. And after riding it for just a little bit, like, I mean, you can just pull this thing down onto its knees, and it'll just come right back to life. Decided I really didn't. Actually, I don't want the recluse. It was good on the 450, but I don't think it matches up with this thing. So everybody's got a different preference and stuff. Mouse running the corn row. I like this thing without it. Just that being able to just lug this thing down makes it super rideable. I've actually gotten better tire life on this than I ever did on the 450. And riding it faster with less effort. That's the big one, is it doesn't wear me out near as much. And running a half-hour longer race, moving from the C to the B class, still way less fatigue. I've never had arm pump on this thing. It's not been an issue. The hydraulic clutch feels good. You know, honestly, with the 300, it's not like you're not riding a 125. You're not working the clutch as hard as you would be, you know, on about anything else, because you can just let this thing pull and it'll just take you out of a lot of jams. Like I said, everybody's got their own preference thing. After having this, I don't see myself going back to the 4-stroke. Had things played out different, I probably would have kept the bike that I had before, the 450. It was an 05 RM 250, and I probably wouldn't have this thing. I might, but I think it would have done very well for the type of riding that I'm doing. You know, right now, obviously, I'm just pedaling around. I'm basically just running my lights to see how they're going to act and hold up and everything else. Get a little long-winded on everything, but that's part of it. But yeah, overall, the 300's been great. Just getting it all set up and the way I want it and everything else. I feel like it is a fantastic do-all bike. You know, I could go trail ride this thing all day. I've been racing it. I really don't feel like I'm giving up anything there. You know, maybe there's some stuff out there that does this or that better, but all around, I think this thing is right up there with any of them. Obviously, if somebody wants to let me borrow and try out like their cone valve forks or anything like that, I mean, of course, I'm willing. You know, I'll give you my address, you can just send them to me. But the light setup, getting it kind of put together and everything else. In a couple weeks to Alabama and doing the Perry Mountain 24-hour challenge, doing a 6-man team. A bunch of us are vet guys. We're gonna throw in, one of the guys is running, I believe he's running C lights. All the rest of us are running vet. But we're gonna run the novice class, see how it all goes together. See if this thing will just pull its way out of here. That's not bad. Got deer out here. Don't even know what to do. Let's see if we can run that backwards. Yeah. Just getting everything set up and kind of testing it out and stuff. Basically, it's a Saturday night. Emily's going to a horse show tomorrow, so I may try and work on some trails. Don't know if I'll get to it or not. I need to trim some briars back. Got cat scratched across the arm. But yeah, the headlight needs adjusted some more. I've played with it and I need to mess with it some more, see if I can find a happy medium and get it somewhere where I like it. But yeah, get a good weekend and get a scooters group together. Get everybody out here and get some more trail kind of halfway blown in. Get everything trimmed back. Just a lot. Right now the loop's 2.5 to 3 miles. Just a little quick loop, but got a little bit of everything. It's coming pretty good. It's a lot for one guy trying to get everything cut in and trimmed back. Need to start working on it some more, but life gets in the way. Got a bunch of other stuff going on. That's the other thing I see coming from the light setup, is being able to ride in the evenings late. Probably on the weekends. Gotta get up and go to work like everybody else during the week, but that's just part of it. All in all though, the Tusk fan's been great. I know some people may like their trail tags or whatever else, but once I started doing some slow riding, going through the woods here, it's actually pretty thick, and it was hot, and got this thing hot, and it was trying to boil over a little bit, but it seems to be okay now. Like I said, I'm gonna adjust my headlight, but Oxbow Mavericks. Went with them instead of the Voyager. Didn't have to worry about a battery pack and cords and stuff hanging off of it. I know I got to recharge them, but for right now I am very happy with the purchase. The light coming off these things is great. I think we're gonna roll back in, kind of double check some stuff, and oh, it's probably 11:30 now. Maybe just go home, go to bed, but see you guys later. Kick this thing back on. I don't know if we're gonna make it or not. 189, no, that's not gonna make it without some help. Figured we'd go ahead and, I don't know if I can find neutral. Let this thing idle. Set at 190, it should kick on. It's steaming a little bit, just the wet grass and stuff hitting the front of the radiator. Make it fun. Shut it off and the fan kicks on. Yep. It's running right there, and there's a ton of heat coming out of that thing. But it'll take it just a second. And it'll get us dropped back down to 185. And she's off. So, happy with that. Yeah, there's an idea of halfway how greasy it is out there right now. But it gets around pretty good for being in that. It was clean when I took it out. So we'll call that a success for the Saturday night ride.